Well, welcome back, everyone. My name is Frank McNally. I'm an MBA student here at George Washington. And on behalf of Keen Guides, I'd just like to thank the judges for being here today and the organizers of this first annual business plan competition for George Washington. It's really an honor to be presenting with such other great teams, and we're proud to be here. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Catherine so she can get us started.
Thank you, Frank. I'm Catherine, and I lost my hearing to meningitis when I was 8 months old. And so I've become a very visual person, and I love museums. But they're not always accessible. I went to the National Gallery last year and asked for an alternate to their tour. They gave me a transcript, a bulky, awkward stack of paper. And it was just really awkward, and I didn't enjoy that experience very much. And I knew that there could be a better solution. But we were thinking about this. We realized there's a lot of stacks of papers out there. There's tour books, there's brochures, there's maps. And it's not a very mobile experience. It's not very interactive or independent. And so we decided to try to create an on-demand, downloadable tour that you can do on your own pace, at your own time. I'm going to show you how it can be played on multiple media players, such as an MP3 player or a phone. So you'll see a demonstration of a player.
Honoring his classical influences through a highly skilled use of light and pattern, the daring colorist often used color alone to suggest the space around an object. Preferring to paint landscapes, houses, and interiors, it was within these environments that Porter found.
And I'm going to get ready to show you a series of videos that we produced to demonstrate the different kinds of tours out there, like a pedestrian-friendly city walking tour, a historic site, a museum, or a college admissions tour.
Find great down Winston-Salem. I'm standing at the intersection of 4th and Cherry, a hub of downtown life.
And it's a sign language for people who are deaf.
Welcome to Renolda House Museum of American Art, one of the nation's premier American art museums.
La vida en las residencias de Wake Forest es una gran experiencia.
And we also offer them in Spanish for other languages. And we believe we're the right team with the product at the right time. We have a large and ready market that is moving toward meaningful mobile data. And then we've got a proven product because we launched an alpha version of our pilot at the National Gallery of Art. We've got to sell multiple tours. And we have a profitable business model which makes money through recurring license fees and a hosted solution. And we have a defensible position because we have a team of accessibility experts and production experts. So we're a committed team of entrepreneurs and experienced advisors. I'm going to turn you over to Karen, who's going to talk to you about the market.
Thanks, Catherine. Looking at the U.S. market for tours, for guided tours in this country, we looked at 31,000 destinations, museums, aquariums, zoos, and city walking tours, as well as colleges and universities. What we see is that there's a total available market of about 107,000 tours. This market represents 1.6 billion visitors a year and $8.6 billion in revenue. We know a little bit about what these museums want. We know that they do want to bring more people through their doors, especially in these harder economic times, and they do use tours. More than 1,100 of them purchase a tour from the current providers out there. They also really want a solution for ADA compliance and accessibility. If you're familiar with the National Spy Museum problem that they had last year when their beautiful multimedia exhibits were not accessible to people, a blind visitor with disabilities, ended up being a very costly fix for the Spy Museum and also an embarrassment to the group. What we know that they don't want is some of the ways that tours have been done in the past. They don't want proprietary hardware, heavily restrictive contracts, and long-term commitments, and they don't want to face lawsuits or lost visitors from accessibility issues. Looking at the competitive landscape a little bit, we see kind of 4 different sections of areas where we see competition. Up in the top quadrant here, you'll see Lonely Planet and Photos and YouTube, people that produce outside content for museums and cultural destinations that's not necessarily in collaboration with the venue itself, and is sometimes, especially in the case of YouTube and online video, not very trusted content. Up over here on the right, you'll see Antenna Audio and Acoustiguide, the big players in the old wand audio tour market. You've probably seen a wand in any museum that you've been to. These guys rely on proprietary hardware, very extensive long-term contracts, and heavily restrictive ownership rules for their business model. It's an interesting business model, but not very appealing to museums anymore, who can now do more of this thing on their own. In the bottom quadrant, you'll see more of the museum homegrown solutions, their own tours, their own text on the walls, things like that. And on the far right, you'll see kind of an interesting new area of virtual tours and podcasting, where you see an interesting market start to emerge. We see ourselves working in that quadrant and over to the middle a little bit, offering something with good bells and whistles, like Antenna Audio and Acoustiguide, but with much more control for the museum, which is of appeal to them. Looking at our advantage there, we see we compared ourselves against audio tour companies and online video, and really saw that Keen Guides is the only one that can provide all of these things between trusted content, the ability to use your own device, no long-term contracts, a mobile interface where individuals can download a tour on the go, the ability to keep it at a price point of less than $50K to a museum and less than $5 to consumers, and very importantly, accessible for people with disabilities, no matter what they are, and also accessible to people with different languages. Let's look at sources of revenue here. We see two different ones. The first one is a more traditional production kind of revenue, which is the production cost plus a margin. That's for the scripted multi-stop tour. The excitement part on that is not in the production year itself, but in the out years of licensing the content and the hosting for that tour back to the museum. So you see a year-on-year revenue stream in the production. But what we really see as the exciting revenue model here is the hosted solution. So the opportunity to host a museum's or a venue's content online on a website, as well as a mobile application, where that data is aggregated and then made available to tourists looking for educational content. The subscription to that service would be $500 per month per institution, and would offer a much more high-margin, cash-generating kind of product for us. We'll show you a little bit about what that will look like. This is just a mock-up of a KeenGuides.com website. You'll see obviously very, very searchable, lots of filters, and the ability to filter by your preferences, your geography, and what have you. The ability you'll see up in the corner a My Keen site, where you can really keep all of your tours that you have done, the tours that you like. In the rants and raves section, the opportunity to rate and give feedback about those tours. This produces a lot of information about tours and the people that tour them. It also creates the opportunity potentially for user-generated content. Backed up to this website would be a mobile application, and I'm just going to walk you through kind of a typical user experience on it. They would download, obviously, the Keen Guides app that you see there, highlighted in yellow. They'll click on that and decide where they want to go. So that they'd like a museum, perhaps. You can choose from the different things. You'll look at this and see, the National Gallery of Art is just about 100 or so feet from you. It's GPS based, just with the iPhone, just using the iPhone's existing capabilities to that. And you click on the National Gallery and you see the tours that are available. If you have a family, maybe you were going to take the NGA Kids site, but since you are really into modern art, you'll take the East Building tour, which you'll see has a rating of 4 Keen Guide icons. And you'll see the All Access button that means that it's accessible to people with disabilities. Once you get in, you can choose which modality or language that you'd like to take. You'll also see the advertising opportunity there. And then once you get in, you can look at the thumbnails and say, okay, well, I really only have half an hour, and so I have three items I'd like to see. That one looks particularly interesting, stop 6. You can pick and choose, go in any order, decide what you want, and then up comes your tour. So that's the way the mobile application will work. You can imagine the permutations of this. That data, those stops and those tours, once aggregated into a site, offer the opportunity for tourists to say, okay, I really like art. I really like modern art. I really like history, and find a tour customizable for their interests and their likes and needs. Once that has a large user base, you can really see the opportunity to create a very customizable tour. I'm going to hand it over to Frank so he can talk about how we'll sell this great product.
Well, thank you, Karen. As you can see, it is a pretty elegant solution on the mobile application and through the website. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about how we will sell this. Our pricing strategy, it's priced to sell in the base year. The client only pays for the production costs and our cost of labor. There's a very slim margin in that because our desire is to have the client enter into contract and renew each year to continue to use the Keen license. And that's very high margin revenue there in the continuing years. Our hosted solution, again, aggregates museums and clients and facilitates the sale of other tours as we develop those relationships with them. On the sales strategy side, I like to think about accessibility as a Trojan horse. The Americans with Disabilities Act actually mandates full and equal enjoyment at a venue, and museums know this. Keen Guides offers a very low comparative cost to increase that compliance. So our Trojan horse then gets us in to meet with decision makers, and we compel them with our social mission and demonstrate to them how Keen Guides is actually much more than an accessibility product. It's also a great resource for anybody who wants to take tours. So we have demonstrated our potential with the sale at Wake Forest University. We did an admissions-based tour for them, which is an important market for us in the colleges and universities market, where if a prospective student is unable to take the guided tour that a university offers, or they don't have time to, or for whatever reason, they can use the Keen Guide service and actually tour the campus based on what the museum wants to feature, or the college wants to feature. We also did a 15-stop art tour, which helped us with our capabilities in the museum market as well. We provided turnkey production support. We were a full-service provider for Wake Forest. They were very impressed with what we've done, and we've already had additional sales opportunities presented to us through the university that we're very excited about. I'd like to talk about the horizontal market expansion that I think is a great potential opportunity for Keen Guides. We do think we can take this global. The use of GPS allows us to design walking tours using a hub and spoke model. So for instance, a family comes to take their son or daughter to visit George Washington. For whatever reason, they're delayed and they're unable to take the guided tour that the university offers. Well, fortunately, George Washington University has signed up and contracted with Keen Guides, and they have our solution. So they download our tour to their device, and they can actually take the walking tour around the campus of George Washington and get the experience that they otherwise might get with a more controlled museum tour. So once we've established George Washington as our hub in Washington, D.C., we can go to other clients, potential clients around the city, and say, we'd like to feature you as additional content that users who come to look at George Washington can then find out about your site. So if mom's an art lover, she can filter using the application a tour designed around the great modern art that the city offers. Or if dad and son are avid outdoor enthusiasts, they can find out about the national parks and resources that DC has to offer. So we're driving people through the use of the hub out into explore the city and what's offered there. So it's a very applicable model for any city in America, and we're very excited about it. There's also potential for partnerships with Lonely Planet and Fodors who want to kind of step into the technology there. We think we can be a facilitator for them. And our application, of course, it is shown on the iPod platform, but it will be done for all applications and all bases, BlackBerries, what have you. So we do have the right team. Karen Borchert's our CEO. She actually founded a nonprofit organization that was award-winning, a very well-done organization. She's got great experience and has helped us start this business and really make sure that we've checked all our bases. Catherine McNally is our president and our founder. She sits on about 12 national boards for accessibility, and so she really brings that expertise to us and had 3 years of experience in the field actually doing accessibility management for the Kennedy Center and for the Smithsonian. Martin Franklin is our CFO. He launched a global consulting and project management firm and has 9 years experience there. So Martin really covers the back of the house stuff for Keen Guides, and we're really thankful to have him. And I am Frank McNally. I'm our Chief of Sales. I've got 6 years experience at the government sector doing procurement. So I've got experience in writing contracts and negotiating complex deals, and I really look forward to applying that in our sales strategies. So we have an impressive board of advisors. We have people that have experience in launching new businesses and people who sit on boards of very prestigious museums. You can see Dean Smith there's board of trustees at the Smithsonian Art Museum. We've got technology directors in museums that can kind of tell us what our market wants. And our board of advisors has really been terrific and has allowed us to structure this business in a successful manner. So I'm going to hand it over to Martin Franklin. He can talk about our finances for you.
Thank you, Frank. Now, Catherine showed us that we do have the product. Karen proved that there is a market out there, and Frank knows how to sell it. So I just quickly want to run you through a few of the numbers. Basically what you're looking at here is a bottom-up analysis, just a summary. There's a lot more detail behind it. And it's the 5-year projections of the financials. I'm going to highlight a few key numbers there. First one, with the ramp-up in sales, in 5th year, we reached just approximately 19 million in revenue. To do this revenue, we built insufficient direct and indirect costs, and we get a net margin of 25%. Also down in the cash flow statement, you can see that in month 15 and 18, between month 15 and 18, we reached cash flow positive since investment. Also, I just want to highlight that in terms of the typical client that we work with, we did model for a sufficient level of receivables. Now, setting the projections aside, I want to show you a few scenarios that we ran. The first one, as you've seen, is the conservative base case. That's the 19 million, more or less. We're just merely touching on 1.6% of the market out there. On the economic downturn and the negative side, modeling, say, 25% of our sales projections, we basically turn around about 5 million. There's about 700,000 in equity in year 5. Now, the one that we're really excited about, and that's what Frank alluded to, is the horizontal market expansion. If we can get out into the mobile app and that goes really much bigger, then there's an opportunity, as we've modeled, of almost turning around 100 million. The investment opportunity available today, we're looking to put together 50,000. We need to prove two things. We need to prove to the investor that we do have a product. We also need to prove to the client to buy that we have something on the table. We need to show them something. So we're looking to put together a beta website and a beta mobile application. We're presenting to investors in August. We've bootstrapped some of the money so far, but the 20,000 that's available here today will really be key towards the success of that. On a bigger scale, there's a $300,000 investment that'll really take us to the next level. Just based on the previous financials that I showed you, there's a potential for an investor to reach between 10 and 15 multiple. I'm going to give it back to Frank, and he's going to tell you more about what we'll actually be wanting to do with the 20,000.
Well, thanks, Martin. If we were fortunate enough to be selected for the prize money today, we would really view that as an investment, as he said, and a really important investment. We've structured the business. We've put the time and the sweat equity into it. This $20,000 would really go towards developing our product. We're presenting at the American Association of Museums Conference in Philadelphia in May. We'll have access to 2,000 museum directors who will really comprise a large part of our market. We'd like to have great sales materials and marketing documents to take with us to that conference. However, the majority of the investment today would go to building and designing this elegant website and mobile solution. We'd be able to hire a developer to work side by side with us over the summer and focus on designing a mobile app that really just does everything we want and is very streamlined, and we're excited about that. An additional 10% of the investment today would go towards researching and testing the premier accessibility software that's on the market today. As an accessibility company, it's very important that we have the best technology for our users. Also, we use about 5% to travel to demonstrations for venture capitalists and presentations that we'll have facilitated by Launchbox, which is a business accelerator program that has accepted us into their summer capsule. So this investment would really mean a lot and would help us develop our business and really get out there and sell it. Accomplishments, just want to take a moment to kind of talk to you about what we've been able to do over the past year, just strictly through bootstrapping and sweat equity. We are presenting at the American Association of Museums conference with the National Gallery of Art and the Met. We've been selected as a thought leader in accessible technologies for museums, and we're very honored to present with these two prestigious institutions and are looking forward to that conference in May. We were chosen for the business development capsule and Launchbox out of 260 companies. We're excited about the ability to learn from Launchbox and the access to venture capitalists that will provide. We were selected, actually named as one of Virginia's most creative new businesses. It's the Muse Awards. We're honored to be honored in that. We're honored to be selected by the Muse Awards for that. And we have great reference clients. As Catherine said, our alpha product at the National Gallery of Art helped us determine a lot about the market and what people want. And then Wake Forest, proven that this can sell commercially. So we really hope that you've enjoyed this presentation, and we'd like to take your questions now.
One of the things I wondered is who owns the content for these museums? For instance, do the museums own it, or do you own it, or how does that work?
So Keen Guides actually owns the videos, and the client leases and licenses them from us. So we own all the content, and it's sold on a renewal to the client.
Does that mean you have rights to resell it? Or do you just have rights? Because I would think the content would have, say, if it was an art museum, proprietary images potentially.
Correct. Yes, our contracts are with the client. We use it for purposes that they can approve, and they're also allowed to use it for marketing materials as well.
Are you allowed?
We do not resell it. No. Sir?
Do you have a capability to bring in existing content that the client already has? And tell me a little bit about how that works.
Yeah, absolutely. The mobile application and website will be built to aggregate existing data as well as data that they would produce with us. So a lot of museums are now producing video podcasts based on speakers and artists that come into their museums. We would be able to put that content in just as part of the museum's landing page. They'd have a landing page on our site where you would go and choose which tours or which content you'd like to download. So the idea would absolutely be to aggregate existing data that's out there. That'll create us a much larger base of data much more quickly.
And it creates a much more appealing aspect. When we go to museums, you have it on a mobile application. And if a museum who already produces content is not on that application page, and for the go-to site, they could be really compelled to host the tours with Keen Guides so that people can see the Smithsonian when they walk out the Smithsonian Metro.
That's right. Yes, our goal through the website is to become the go-to site for museum and cultural tours, and the aggregation through the hosted solution is going to allow us to do that.
So let's say you take off. Why can't somebody just duplicate exactly what are you going to own that's important?
A couple of things. One really is in with the technology. The application and the site is not just an application and a site to get data out there. What we're interested in doing is building tags around either the stops or the tours themselves so that people can customize a tour. That's really never been done before, and building that technology will take, as you could see, some investment and some time on our point. Once we build something that could potentially tag and aggregate the data, that information is that product is something that would take a lot of time to build. We also see the current folks that could go into the market. Obviously, the audio tour guys could move over to that if they wanted to dispense with their model of proprietary technology, but they have just an enormous amount of their companies invested in that hardware. So that's a slow ship to turn for them. The Fodors and Lonely Planets of the world are an obvious other one where they could go into more digital technology, and they do have some of the user base. We see the accessibility side of what we're doing and the ability to provide that aspect of that as a real core competence of ours.
How big is Antenna Audio?
How big is Antenna Audio? Antenna Audio has approximately 800 clients. 800 clients. Do you know what the revenue? About 30. I think they're about a $30 million. I believe they're a $30 million company.
30 million?
Mm-hmm.
I'd be concerned if I were a customer, say a large art gallery. Clearly your customer is going to have to invest a lot of time and effort in preparing the content, or would want to. And then having you own that content would kind of lock them into your service, and the customer might worry about that they don't have much flexibility. Sure. Could you just respond to that?
Sure. I think that the content ownership situation is one. The content ownership doesn't per se provide us with the most important part of our revenue model. So if it went away, for instance, if a museum said, look, this is our content, we really need to own it, it wouldn't preclude us from continuing to make money on that client. If they want their information to be on our site and in our application and present with the Keen Guides site, then they would subscribe with us. If they own that content, that doesn't actually affect our ownership that much. It helps us a little bit to own the content and to lease it back from a subscription perspective for the actual tours. But when it comes down to it, that's not the primary component of our business model, and it's probably something that we could lose if a museum needed it to.
Okay, so you wouldn't rule out letting a museum own the content, they would pay you to be hosted on your site.
That's right. We'd probably just pay them a larger amount up front for that opportunity.
Okay.
Yep.
You showed one of my favorite charts where you have a bunch of criteria and you get all yeses and the other people don't.
Right.
Can you tell me what the criteria? I've used it myself, so it's good. What are the things where you're going to get a no and they're going to get a yes, and what impact do you think it'll have on the business?
I think the biggest one where we get a no is that we're not established in the market yet. We're not there, and we don't currently own and have all of that content. If you looked at Photos and some of those, they have content, and they have trusted content. Actually, they have content that a lot of tourists use. So I think that here we go. I would say probably having a lot of content already in a strong base of content is something that we would get a no in. And then also, we don't have $20,000. Just kidding.
Just one other question. Have you thought of a hybrid model where you're going to use kind of a social networking model to generate content that then can be hosted on your site so that you can rapidly kind of increase the content level and then, rate it by users, and then you'll get free tours because somebody will be walking around Washington videotaping their own tour for you.
Yeah, absolutely. There's actually a really great live version of that going on the National Mall right now. There's a couple of guys that give free guided tours, walking tours. We really see the potential for people to be able to create their own tours, walk around, Soho to show them your favorite, shops and restaurants, walk around, that kind of thing. In addition to that, the disability community, especially the deaf community, is very, very active in helping create more accessible spaces. So the idea that somebody could take an accessible tour of the Washington Monument and see that the Lincoln Memorial doesn't have one could very easily compel folks in that market to create one and say, okay, now we're going to keep adding to this repository of more accessible videos because they just don't exist. So absolutely.
So I like the concept of kind of the geo portable device kind of centric. I guess I'm kind of wondering in the back of my mind whether your business model will be more dependent on getting money from museums for content, or whether it will be getting money from people that are around the museums, the restaurants, in a sense being a local guide that's centered around the geographic place, but that the revenue actually comes from other people around there. And just wondering how much money museums are going to have ultimately.
It's a great question.
That is a good question.
It's one I think that we're exploring also. The idea of restaurants or venues being able to provide the advertising space, within the video or at the end of it, or that kind of thing, and on the site and in the application, in order to support the arts in their community, is a very real possibility for us. I think we won't know that until we get out there and really test that revenue model, but it's certainly a question in our minds too.
One idea we've actually had to address that is we're working with an advertiser who allows us to enrich the video content, which would then allow the user to click through the video and arrive at the retail space of, say, a museum's gift shop or a local restaurant that wants to bring people to the National Gallery because they're the hot spot next door. So there's different ways to kind of develop this through that hub and spoke model.
In the walking tour, the route can be determined by the restaurants all along the way.
Yeah.
For point A to point B include melon mushroom, stop by, get a piece of.
In Winston-Salem, this is how we're proceeding with that city. They want to make Winston more of a pedestrian-friendly area. So we used Wake Forest as our hub, and then we went out to several other local, cultural institutions, and were able to say, hey, you got a potential client base here at Wake Forest that you're not taking advantage of. Why don't you do a stop on your tour for these prospective students and their parents, and then when they're done at Wake Forest, they'll know where to come and get dinner or spend the afternoon.
Mm-hmm. Will you be able to view the whole tour on the website as opposed to downloading it and going to the museum?
Absolutely. That's actually a very good point, and that's really good for our educational market. Colleges want to reach students where they are, and that's usually their bedrooms or in front of the TV. So when they're on their laptop and they're looking to see what colleges they want to visit, what universities they want to go to, they'll go to the Keen Guides website and they'll see that Wake Forest has this great mobile media tour that they can download on their iPod and watch during class. But again, it's reached through the computer, and very viewable.
Just on that point, we also, on different cases, we don't want to take the experience away from the client. So on an art history tour, in that sense, we want them to be there and not sit at the computer and look at it. So it's customized.
And that's really partly to the client. And the National Gallery said, we want this filmed in a studio without the art behind, so that it absolutely doesn't replicate the experience. Whereas Wake Forest said, replicate the experience. Kids are applying to 12, 15 schools, and they're only visiting 3 or 4. If they can visit online, great. So that's really up to the client.
You guys did a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And our winner is Keen Guides. Congratulations. Congratulations. Great job. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Yeah, congratulations. Think you guys will get in behind the check. Congratulations. I'll sit in the back. Yeah. We all have to get in. Okay. Okay. We have some time. Show you love.
Yeah. Yeah. Just make sure. Maybe you can bring your shoulder over. Yeah. We can see you. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, that's fine.
Wide angle then.
Yep.
Perfect. People at the end with fat mark.
Let's get one last one there. Thanks.
Congratulations.
Hold on to that.
Actually, for the first place team, we have the 2 bonus prizes. The QuickBooks Pro.
I'm going to say something once. But,
Give it
yeah.
to the CFO. And this is the book by Eric Koster, who's one of our law school grads, on starting a high-tech business venture. Great. Thank you very much.
Well, let me say, I think I'll see you all at lunch, and I'll have a few remarks there, but just wanted to say how impressed I've been at how smoothly this inaugural round of the competition has gone, and got a tremendous amount of high-quality work that's gone into this by a lot of people that I'll be thanking in a few moments, but congratulations on all the finalists for terrific presentations, and you really made it through you really ran the gauntlet to get here, so it's very impressive and a great launch. Thank you all.